It's execution. Games come down to execution. Games come down in the first half. We are able to execute better than what South Dakota State was able to do. Third quarter, they were able to execute better than what we were supposed to do. And in the fourth quarter, it kind of, I thought both teams, it came down to, making the plays that they needed to play and our guys fighting back, trying to close the gap. And it always comes down, you can look at stats, but it always comes down to that next first down, with 5 minutes to go, down 4, and you don't get a first down there. It always comes down, and we practice those. Those are those got-to-have-it plays in a game that you need, because one first down turns into 2 first down, turns into a drive, turns into a possible touchdown. And, but like I said, it always comes down to those situations, and we got to be better. I told our kids, we own it. We own how we prepare. We own the fundamentals and the discipline we play with. We own, how well we execute, playing for 4 quarters, playing for 60 minutes. We own what we put on film. So there's no excuses. Never. You got to own it. I told them today, the greatest skill you can have in life is figuring it out. And, we just got to figure it out.
The performance that you guys had in that game, obviously controlling it for a good portion of that game, kind of an indication of just how far the team has come on both sides of the ball since last year.
Yeah, I mean, you can, because, that was, again, coming off the field last year, that was pretty embarrassing. So, yeah, closing the gap. But, you feel like all those games you come in and you regret because there's opportunities in that game that you didn't take full advantage of. And, we knew third quarter they're going to come back. They're a great program. They're going to come back. Nobody's going to lay down in this league. I don't care what team you have. You better be ready to play a 60-minute game. And when you come out at half, you better be ready to play 30 minutes, and it'll probably be the toughest 30 minutes that you're going to have to play. So, those are the things, measuring, say, our goal is to win each and every week. And, it's not easy. It's a tough task. Choose your hard. Do you want to prepare hard so that you can play on Saturdays and execute to what the standard is and what your expectations are? And don't get easier. You go on the road, it gets tougher. Going to Dome, it gets tougher. And we're playing an opponent that's a great football team, great football program, that play with tremendous effort. That's the one thing that, since I've been at Youngstown State, when you turn on, it's different watching North Dakota play. The effort that those young men play with, we tell all of our kids all the time. I mean, it's remarkable, and I give that's a testament to their coach, even Bubba, who's been there, the new coach, Coach Schmidt, and the coaches, they're all North Dakota, been at North Dakota. So it kind of is a culture-based, just like all these teams that have had great consistency. North Dakota's had great consistency. South Dakota State, every week, Illinois State. So there's no easy ones. So, you got to go out, and I thought, had a great Grit Tuesday. We call it Grit Tuesday because it's going to be physical. I thought we had a physical practice and getting ourselves in the mindset that what it's going to take to get on a plane and go, win a football game.
A tough stretch here, 2 straight on the road against 2 quality opponents. So that road focus again.
Yeah, I mean, you look at 2 weeks prior to South Dakota State, we had 2 road. So sometimes that preseason kind of you try to work on preparing for that, knowing we had 2 road games consecutive, and I can't. Those are things I just told you about that can't be an excuse. Those are things we don't control. What we can control, again, is how well prepared we are, how well we can execute, and can we play with the intensity for 60 minutes. And if we can do those things, I feel good each and every Saturday.
The offense has obviously been pretty dynamic this season. What kind of talent is
They got athletes, and I really like their offensive line. I really do see an athletic, guys that can bend, guys that can run. They're going to run the gap scheme. I'm sure, third quarter, when you put on film a team running gap scheme on you and you struggled at stopping it, you're going to see more gap scheme. And they run zone, That's primarily the offense they run. They spread the field out for you. They open vertical seams, and then they got explosive tailbacks that if you give a vertical seam, they're gone. I saw that against Kansas State in that game. I have a lot of respect for their running back, their O-line. And then they got big tight ends. I think athletically at wide receiver, probably the best group of receivers, maybe outside of Michigan State, who I thought had some great receivers at Michigan State. And then their quarterback, for a first-year starter, he's seeing the field, he's making the throws, he's able to escape the pocket, he can run. So it does put a great challenge on your defense. But, guys, that's in our league, you're going to get that each and every week. So our job is to make sure that we play fundamentally sound. And again, the effort part of it, is something that takes them to the next level. And we got to be able to match their effort. Who? Yeah. We had I wouldn't say a pitch count on them, but, we knew if we could get 20 some plays and more practice this week, and he's been practicing. And so, this week, yeah, he's in the full game plan, with him and Jaden. They're a good complement to each other. And, that's one thing we want to see. I do believe we have good running backs, and we got to get them involved too. They do a good job catching the ball out of the backfield, but establishing them too as runners would be great.
I saw after the game, Nathan Hickey was, had on his sling with.
We're waiting to hear. You're hoping. Dathan's just had, and you want to see him because he finally gets back. But it's one where we're going to know more today. If he can go, he's going to go. Here's a young man that's, has missed seasons, missed a lot of football, is playing great football for us. So, but again, I wanted him to be healthy and safe, and, the doctors will tell us and he'll tell us. But, right now we're just waiting for some results that'll come back this afternoon.